Good evening everyone and welcome to TTL F1 League 2. We are here for Season 17, Round 7, not Round 8 as what my commentator thought coming into tonight, but we are here, as I say, for the Italian Grand Prix at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. What a historic track, and hopefully we will see some historic racing out on track here tonight as well. Good evening everyone, I'm James Head, going to be taking you through the action as always. Didn't think I'd be streaming on YouTube, but there we go, we are absolutely fine with that. And joining me in the commentary box as always is of course Paco Suarez. Paco, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine, I have to say. Excited because today we're heading to Italy. That for me is one of the best circuit ever made, and for sure we'll have some good racing today.
We should have some very good racing, I think, out on track tonight. And if it's anything like TTL F1 League 1 last night, we should be in for a right treat where we had a three-way battle pretty much until the final couple of laps out on track. Mashiro took the win last time out in Belgium. Daniil in second and Axnes in third position. So the McLaren man now extending his championship lead, and we'll come on to the championship standings in the meantime. It is round 7, of course. It was Axnes who took pole position. Mashiro has won he's won the last 3 races in Germany, Hungary and Belgium respectively, in tremendous form, and I think he is going to continue that up tonight. Schumi taking the stick-em-up driver of the day as well. OWR Schumi there in the Ferrari. Fantastic, I think, award for him. Drove a great race to finish in... where did he finish again? Just having a look at my standings. He finished in 4th and really drove quite a good race last time out in Belgium, so hopefully he can repay the favour on that. Championship standings, 25 points separate the two McLarens out on track. It is Mashiro on 112 points leading the way, with Key in second on 87. And Mashiro obviously getting 3 of the last wins here in TTL F1 League 2. He's in a right vein of form.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and last week he actually... how to say it in English? I mean, he showed his power, you know, like he showed to his teammate that he is decided to win the title, and he actually won the Grand Prix, took advantage from his teammate DNFing, and probably this will give a big boost to his morale. Probably to his teammate will be totally the opposite. Although we'll have to see, because when something bad happens, you always have like the motivation to get some revenge. So we'll have to see what they do today.
I've got to be honest, I think both McLarens are not going to be number 1 and number 2 driver. They are equally paced, I think, coming into tonight. And looking through the rest of the standings, Storm in 3rd on 65 points is actually quite close between 3rd and 6th. So Storm in 3rd on 65, Daniil in 4th on 64 points, Axnes in 5th on 59, Hades in 6th on 55. Note the name change in his name, it's YWR Hades, not OWR Hades now. Pariah in 7th on 32 points, Maximus in 8th on 25, and Atlas Copel and Mays filling out the top 10, tied for 9th on 21 points. Running through the rest of the standings, Charlie, who has had a good vein of form recently in past weeks, the Racing Point man in 11th on 16 points. Jeffrey and Schumi tied for 12th after that good result for Schumi last time out on 13 points. Passel's in 14th on 7. Vax Viking is in 15th on 6. Weidel Billy in 16th on 4. King Koza in 17th on 2. And if you're Tom, Conti and YWR Storm, it's Eurovision month and you've got 0 points. We'll put it that way right from the get-go. And I mean, the constructors can, I think, be wrapped up coming into tonight as well. McLaren are at 199 points. That is how dominant these two guys have been, Mashiro and Key, out on track. Toro Rosso, just to bear in mind, are on 87 points. That is a huge gap of 112 points coming into tonight. So McLaren pretty much can wrap up the championship, maybe here, maybe next week as well. Looking through the rest of the constructors, Racing Point in third on 81 points, Alfa Romeo in fourth on 80, Ferrari in fifth on 77, Renault in sixth on 28, so a big jump down from fifth to sixth. Mercedes in seventh on 25, Williams in 16 in eighth, on 16 points, got them in the end. Red Bull Racing in ninth on 13, and Haas in 10th on 4 points as well. McLaren is so dominant in that constructor standings. It's really just I'm trying to find the right word. It's just a godsend, I think, to how consistent these two have been, Mashiro and Key.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that probably these two drivers, I don't know if they had in mind trying to help each other in order to get the constructors. But now that it's almost done, probably they'll now get to race between each other with more being more aggressive, into each other. So probably from now on we'll see some more freedom in McLaren, although I don't personally think that there were team orders during the season, but I do see that probably there was some kind of respect that probably now will be gone. Not totally gone, but partially gone, if you know what I mean.
I think the respect from these two guys have been quite good so far, especially last week in Belgium where we had the overtake done by Mashiro on Key, and that was for the lead of the race back then. Coming into tonight at Italy, 27 laps await the drivers out on track, 11 turns. It is known as the... What was it Kieran McGinley said last night? I'm just trying to think. It's known as the track of speed. I think it's something like that. Anyway,
The
Temple of Speed. Thank you very much. Goodness me. Digging me out of a hole there, I've got to be honest. Lap distance 5.7 kilometres in length, or 3.6 miles to you and me. Race distance of 156.4 kilometres. Imagine the shape like a boot. It is quite literally like a boot-shaped track. And we've got some historic corners out on track, 2 DRS zones. Surely the limit for overtaking is non-existent tonight. We're going to see a lot of overtakes.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of key points where you can try and overtake. Probably today, we'll see many DRS trains, but to be honest... Oh, and we have wet qualifying. But to be honest, I think that despite the DRS train and the slipstream and all what we're going to have, that it's going to make overtaking a little bit more difficult than what it generally is. I think we're gonna see good racing, and probably today we'll be hoping for the best race of the season.
I said that last night, and it wasn't too far off the mark, to be honest. I think we could be in for a right treat here, and you guys are in the right place, as I say. 30 seconds gone in qualifying, nobody out on track. Dry race, you say?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say the person who told me, but
was it Maze by any chance?
Race. Yeah, it was.
You had it on the tip of your tongue. You had it on the tip of your tongue. You can't kid a kidder. YWR Storm, though, coming out on track first. In the Mercedes, he's had a really rotten time of things coming into tonight. Will the intermediate conditions finally bring out the best of him?
I mean, we've seen many drivers that in tricky conditions can actually pull out an amazing lap. I don't know if... I've seen that he is pretty good in tricky situations, and why not hoping for a good lap from him today? I mean, he needs it. I mean, probably he's out of the fight for the championship, but today he could actually do a good job, and try to win. I mean, these drivers that are not in the title fight could actually try and win some races, just for personal motivation.
Yeah, honestly, I think YWR Storm could do a good job out on track, but just saying that, I've nearly commentators cursed him through the second decimal as he ran wide. It just comes to attribute, really, how difficult these conditions are. Let's ride on board, though, with Conti. He is one of the guys we're going to focus on in the main time. We're on board with Broadcast Cam. I do apologise about this awful camera angle, by the way, but Conti has picked up a 10-second time penalty from last week in Belgium, and that was for an incident with Maximus in the previous race. So Conti has got a 10-second time penalty coming into tonight. Hopefully that it will be added onto the time, as I say, at the end of the race. So Conti allowed to do qualifying. How do you think that will impact on him?
Well, probably he'll be more aggressive because he doesn't have that much to lose. And when you see that you have that penalty, probably you feel like you have to push a little bit more. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some mistakes from him today.
And just saying that, speaking of mistakes, somebody is off through turn 1. I think that's YWR Storm that might have made a bit of a mistake. It wasn't YWR Storm, I do apologise. It was YWR Storm, sorry. I do apologise about that, but YWR Storm on a lap has clearly cut turn 1 and 2. Might have been a car coming out of the pit lane, I wonder, that might have got in his way. And that is track extension to perfection there. He's parked on the left side of the track so he can let everyone through. Conti was flying through shot. We'll go back on board with Conti, and he's actually invalidated his lap. Yeah. Where did he invalidate that? Was that the second chicane?
Yeah, on the second chicane, exactly.
The Della Roggia chicane. Calls Rettifilio chicane the first one, Della Roggia chicane the second one. That is how you can tell the difference between the two chicanes out on track. I was trying to find the right word there. Axnes, by the way, on a lap. Looks like he is not setting a lap currently. 107.8 through the middle sector. So Axnes on the lap, and I think he's one of the first ones to come across the line, if I'm not mistaken. Jeffrey's just coming around the final corner. Storm about to start off on a lap. Sorry, that's Charlie in front, I think. No, there's one of the racing points ahead. It's Charlie, actually, who is on a lap. So Charlie, who's invalidated on his lap, actually coming around the final corner. It was a 1 minute point 4 through the middle sector. Sub 59s, I think, through the middle sector could be a real insight into setting a good lap around here. Charlie coming across the line and invalidated 32.2. Key, another man who is invalidated out on track, 34.1. And Hades got the first time of tonight, 129 flat. To speak about time difference from last night, qualifying I think was within the 118. So Hades will be hoping that he can try and get a good result out on track tonight. But I mean, we should see it's normally around a 9 or a 10 second difference in terms of dries to inters here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there will be like dry conditions, but you're right. And to be honest, we are seeing many mistakes from some drivers that are invalidating their laps, and I'm not surprised at all, to be honest.
I'm honestly not surprised at all. I think, honestly, it just speaks about how difficult the conditions actually are out on track. I'll just confirm, by the way, by running on board with Conti earlier on, if we picked up on the graphic that came up. Hopefully we did. I'm just going to try and go on board with this. Yes, we did. So I did my job right, at least, which is good. Vax Viking 31.7 has just came across the line, has invalidated through turns 1 and 2. Oh, apologies about the connection issues, everyone, but we are back, and we haven't missed that much, to be honest. We've seen a couple of improvements to the times. Hades 29 flat. Couldn't turn one as well as he does that. YWR Hades 29 flat in top position, from Billy in second, Storm in third, Jeffrey fourth, Fact Spiking in fifth, and Suarez, you've been watching the action while I've been going away. Anything interesting that you've picked up on?
Well, actually, pretty weird that Conti hasn't been able to settle up yet. He has been making some mistakes, and that's pretty weird, although he's now finishing the lap, and let's see if it can be a competitive lap. 130.1, that's enough to be just behind his teammate. But apart from that, haven't seen that much. I mean, maybe Kiki being a little bit... I don't know if cautious, but his time at the moment is pretty slow. So we'll have to see if in the end of quali he can set a good lap.
This is going to be second, I think, for Key coming across the line. Key comes across the line now. Oh, perfect! 29.4 from Key goes across the line. Mashiro, I think, is also on a lap as well. So the McLaren teammates are about to come across the line. Well, Mashiro certainly is going to come across the line. Key second with a 29.4. Billy in third. Good lap from him, actually, in the Haas, 29.6. And Mashiro now around the final corner. Might jump his teammate with this lap. Mashiro across the line. Goes slower by about a tenth and a half. So Mashiro third behind Key. So McLaren's well up there again, but the Toro Rossos, obviously Hades, no pariah tonight. McLaren advantage to wrap up the constructors, methinks.
I mean, wasn't it wrapped up yet? Wasn't it wrapped up yet? I mean,
no,
I think with the advantage they had, obviously mathematically speaking, they don't, but I think it was obvious, you know. Both of them have actually wrapped up the constructors. I mean, not mathematically, but they've done a really good job. And I don't think Toro Rosso, despite McLaren DNFing today or whatever, I don't think it's possible for Toro Rosso to make a comeback.
Yeah, Toro Rosso, I don't think will have a good comeback strategy unless the two McLarens fall by the wayside here tonight and Hades really sets a good lap and takes the race by the scruff of the neck, quite literally out on track. Conti, by the way, just catching on board with the end of his lap, improved by 0.2 of a second at 29.9. Remember, he does have that 10-second penalty to be added on to the time at the end of the race, and that was, of course, with contact with Maximus last time out in Belgium. Maximus, probably we're going to go on board with him as he's coming around Parabolica for probably one of the final times, I think, through this lap. 130.9 his current best. He's going to be coming across the line. Go on board with him. I think this is going to be a good lap, you know, by Maximus. Across the line, goes second. 29.2 puts him right within the mix, and Maximus, who has done well in the past in intermediate conditions, showing why wet weather experience is at the fore here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I feel really happy for Maximus because lately he was struggling to do good laps in qualifying, and then in the race he was just having bad luck, and today it seems it's gonna be totally different from previous rounds. Let's hope that he can actually have a good race. And right now I'm on board with Kiki, that is on another attempt with those intermediates, and he's looking pretty solid.
Yeah, I'm just catching on board.
He made a mistake.
Just catching on board with Billy across the line. Oh, 28.9 from Billy. Goes quickest. Found 3/10 in the final sector. He was 3/10 up in the middle sector. Found another 3.5 in the final sector. So Billy goes top, 28.9. First one into the 28s tonight. Catching on board with Key at the end of his lap. Oh, Storm goes quicker, 28.7. So the Racing Point Man goes quicker. We're seeing lap times really fall by the wayside here. We've got Jeffrey on a lap coming through towards Ascari through 8, 9 and 10. And he's 8,000 up currently on a lap. And just to speak about how tight this qualifying actually is, first to 10th, first to 8th, separated by 1.2 seconds out on track. With intermediate conditions around here, that's not too bad.
Definitely it's not, but I have to say that we still have 2 minutes remaining. A lot of things can still change. And, well, we can see, I think, Jeffrey actually improved his time with 1:29.5. and he's now in between both McLarens.
He is in between both McLarens, so threading the McLaren thread at the minute. Jeffrey 29.5, 29.6 for Mashiro out on track. As I say, if you are just tuning in, apologies about the slight connection and slight issues that we had. It might have been my connection. It just totally went down from having my iPad on next to me. Totally went off. I do apologise, of course, but we are back live, and I think that's what matters the most out on track. Charlie, by the way, I think he's improved by 1.2 seconds through this through the middle sector through Ascari. So the Racing Point man just in behind Mashiro, I think, on an outlap. So Charlie now coming around the final corner. In fact, he's in a McLaren sandwich. We've seen quite a few yellow flags actually out on track. Looks like there was a Renault round possibly through Ascari, and there's certainly a Mercedes round through Ascari and a Mercedes round at the second decimal as well. Charlie improves 129.7, improves by 1.2 seconds. Ooh. And Maximus has been disqualified for driving the wrong way, and that was at Ascari. So he was the one off at Ascari. YWR Storm was the one that lost it at Leswell 2. So Maximus from 4th, now disqualified at the session. He's going to be starting right at the back of the grid.
Yeah, and I'm afraid that I have inherited your superpower, and I've cursed him. And I feel really bad because finally he was doing a really good qualifying, but this is what it is. So, well, right now only 20 seconds remaining, and we can see many drivers on their final attempt.
Seen quite a few drivers actually retire out on track. The rain's still beginning to fall here, of course, in Italy. And we are seeing the final couple of drivers on a lap. We'll pick on ball with Mashiro. He's nearer to the line than anyone else, I think. So Mashiro about to come down towards Ascari, down towards turns 8, 9 and 10. And he's purple in the middle sector. And he's 7 tenths up through the middle sector. Has Mashiro Shuley keeping it clean through Ascari. There's a moment through the Della Roggia chicane, a Red Bull off. I think that might have been Conti, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was Jeffrey, sorry. So Jeffrey out and Conti retired as well, just coming down the stretch. Charlie, by the way, ran the final corner. Mashiro ran the final corner as well. And I think Mashiro's going to go top of the pile here, you know. Mashiro across the line. Let's see what his time is. Goes 28.6, a tenth quicker than Storm, retiring a bit prematurely, I think, if I've got to be honest, from Storm. But Hades is 3.5 tenths up within the first sector, now a tenth up within the middle sector. He's got to find the time through Ascari.
And he didn't.
No, he hasn't. He's invalidated through Ascari, so Hades is now out of the session. It's only really Passel's up to 10th, and he's improving by 5 tenths of a second. Could improve ahead of Mays here, so Passel's across the line. Back spiking goes quicker, but Passel's jumped up to 9th, in fact, so a good qualifying session from him. Whatever you are, Storm is down. Atlas Copo goes 14th. Axnes across the line, not getting a lap in either. That's the end of qualifying. Mashiro takes it on top, and for the first time this season, if I'm not mistaken, Mashiro was actually taking pole position. I'm going to check the graphics just to make sure, but I'm under the impression that might be his or one of his first pole positions this season, and in fact it is his first pole position this season.
Yeah, I mean, he was having bad qualifying in the first few races, and then he made big mistakes in the first few laps. But today I think he doesn't want to be in the middle of the action, you know, in that first corner, because we know that first chicane generally causes a lot of incidents in the first lap, so probably he doesn't want to be involved in that.
Yeah, Mashiro taking it on top from Storm in second, Billy in third, Hades fourth, Charlie fifth, Key sixth, Henny seventh, Jeffrey seventh I should say, Conti in eighth, Passel's ninth, Mason 10th, Max Viking, Tom, Shumi, Atlas Copo, Storm all setting laps, Axnes and Maximus out of the session. Not as quick as last week, but we did well to get him within the time.
Yeah, definitely, and I think we now have a good climax, you know, for a good racing, and we'll have to see, because we have a dry race, like Maith said before in the comment section, and to be honest, I'm not sure, because now probably probably here going for wet setup in qualifying would be, I think, like committing suicide, because if you go for a wet setup, then you're going to be slow in the race, and probably everyone will overtake you on the straight. So might anyone did go like for a wet setup in qualifying? Do you think that was possible?
I honestly think the times that we saw would be reflected on dry setups rather than wet setups. So I think the majority of the guys have took that into perspective when going into the race, I think. Just to speak about the track again, laps, 27 laps await the drivers out on track, 11 turns, 5.793 kilometres race distance, 3.6 miles to you and me, race distance of 156.411 kilometres in a 97.2 mile radius around the track. So hopefully we're going to see some great racing. Lap record and fastest lap of the race. No data available because this is the first time I think we've been around Italy in the new format of TTL F1 League 2. We're just waiting on Billy, who I fear might have had a bit of a desync. I have a feeling he's going to have to leave the session and then everyone will be fine. So Billy, the spinny circle going around on my screen. I think it might be the same for yours as well.
Yeah, it's for both of us. Definitely he's always having internet issues and he better get that sorted out because every weekend it's the same problem with Billy.
Just seeing his car actually, that is his car going down towards turn 1, right in the distance, just going through the chicane now. That is his car going through turn 1. So you might have just seen that on the left hand side of your screen. I certainly did, right in the top left. You might just see it pop into screen. I think it's already gone through towards Curva Grande, so Billy will have to leave the session and then we can get back underway. Unfortunately, I think for Billy it might mean he'll miss the race, but hopefully, rather than spending a lot of time really dillying and dallying, there we go, Billy leaving the session from 3rd position as well. Billy, and in fact he's been disqualified! What? How's that? What?
Maybe we have I think we have a glitched formation lap because the game doesn't give penalties under the formation lap. So
Billy has been... Right, that's just weird. The formation lap has begun, by the way. Let's have a look at everyone on their strategies. That's a very weird one on me. That's the first time I've ever seen that. Mashiro... let's have a run through who's on what tyres. Soft compound of tyres, Storm, Hades, Conti, backspiking, Tom, Shumi, Maximus, all on a set of soft compound of tyres. They'll be looking to get around lap 7, lap 8, then possibly go into a set of mediums till the end of the race. One-stop strategy will be quite prevalent, I think, around here tonight. Mediums, Mashiro, Charlie, Key, Jeffrey, Parcells, Maze, Storm, YWR Storm, and Axnes, all on a set of mediums. The only one, the sole one, who could be going later into the race than anyone else is Atlas Copel, down in 14th position. Now, a set of hard compound of tyres around here, let's be honest, it's not the greatest strategy to go on, if I've got to be honest. I think Atlas Copel is going to have his work cut out there.
I mean, I think he made a mistake going with those tyres, but we'll have to see. Maybe he proves us wrong. But before this starts, I would like to ask, and you can see this from miles back, what's your prediction for today's race?
Top 3, I'm going to go Mashiro. I think he's just going to have the right strategy here tonight. Billy, by the way, has joined. He'll come back to a disqualified car, I'm afraid. Mashiro, I think, will win. I honestly think it'll be a McLaren 1-2. I think Key could finish in 2nd. And for 3rd, Storm, I think, could finish in 3rd. TTG Storm, that is. Out on track. What about you? What's your top 3?
Well, I would need to think fast, but I'm gonna risk it. Last week I said Kiki and Mashiro out of the top 3, and eventually one of the McLarens went out of the top 3. Today, I think Mashiro, for whatever reason, he will be out. So I would say Kiki, Storm, and Maximus. I think he will make a good recovery.
That's the fastest top 3 anyone has done. 5 red lights then about to go out here for round 7 of TTL F1 League 2. And it's light down, away we go. Machine gets a good start, but bettered by Storm. Storm is going to have the run down the inside into turn 1. He's already through. And great start by Hades as well. 3 wide going down towards turn 1. Hades backs off. Wise move that, I think. And Storm and Mashiro. Storm has got the move done down into turn 1. So Storm is through and Hades is through as well. Mashiro on those mediums going back through the field. There's been a little bit of contact in the background. Parcells and Maze, I think, have been caught up in something.
But coming through
Curva Grande, Key and Charlie are having a good battle running up, and Mashiro is going side by side with Hades. into the Della Roggia chicane. Oh, and he gets flipped nearly up into the sausage curve. Machilo, great recovery there. Key is through and he's up to 4th. There's a lot going on early on. Passos has been caught up in an incident. I think, as I say, with Maze early on, I didn't quite catch that from further back in the field. I'm sure we'll get that from Paco when we go at the end of lap 1. Tom has got a good start in 7th as well, but look at Charlie is trying to defend this position quite aggressively, I think, for being at lap 1. Conti down the inside line, going to have a hard commitment but not going to get the move done, so Charlie remains in 5th position. Good start though, and Storm has absolutely hammered away out in front. 9.5 tenths to second, going down towards Parabolica for the first time. Tadez in 2nd, Mashiro 3rd, Key in 4th, Charlie down the inside of Conti in 5th, and Conti in fact is trying to go around the outside of Parabolica. This is on lap 1, remember. Tom's trying to make it 3 wide out of here. Goodness me, this is brilliant stuff. Conti, who's got the legs down towards turn 1. Conti and Charlie and Tom. Tom will have a bit of a double toe. No DRS, remember, until lap 3. Conti on the outside line, just about got the car ahead, and he's got the move done. Conti out-drags Charlie down towards the Rettifidio chicane, and he is through and he's up to 5th. What a move.
Yeah, definitely it was, and we have even plenty of action in this first lap with many overtakes in whatever part of the field you're looking. And yeah, a good overtake from Conti. That was pretty difficult to do, and he actually did really, really well.
Just having a look on board, Schumi is down the inside of Tom, so Tom obviously making a mistake there through the Della Roggia chicane through turns 4 and 5. So Schumi now, when he's up to 7th, and he's right on the back of Charlie. Softs really the tyre to be on at this early stage of the race, and the Ferrari man now hunting down on the racing points as we come through the little kink there, now down towards Ascari. Schumi coming down, not going to get the move done though, and Charlie just a little bit aggressive on the power through there, could give Schumi a little bit of luck in up towards Parabolica, and Schumi track extending a little bit, but you can't do that without picking up a penalty. I've done that before, and I haven't picked up a penalty there before. And Maximus is side by side with Jeffrey in behind, and he's got the move done. So Maximus having the better run out of Ascari, capitalised on that, and he's through, and he's up into 9th position. There's a lot going on though, and Schumi is right on the back of Charlie, running down the straight. Onto lap 3 we go. Still Storm who leads, Hades in 2nd, Mashiro and Key 3rd and 4th, Conti in 5th. Schumi then getting past on Charlie. Charlie's going to have a bit of a half look in here. He's going to have a full look in down the inside actually. Schumi across the chicane slightly, just pushes Charlie off, a little bit off the camber of the corner as well, and Charlie has been lost 3 positions there. I wonder if that might go through an appeal actually. Charlie will not be happy, I don't think, with that one. And Conti is down the inside of Key, running down towards the Della Roggia chicane. Tell you what, we're breathless. We need a Ted Kravitz in here or something. And Jeffrey from a mile back, out and breaking himself completely. Charlie is definitely not going to be happy with that one.
No, definitely. He has picked... Oh, when the Williams losing it, and hits it to the wall.
And he's out.
And he retired from the session.
Through the first
Machiro.
Oh,
Machiro, sorry. He lost it again.
Well, what's happened here? There was a massive collision coming through Lesmo 2. Tom and Maximus, I think, have had it coming together, and it's cost Storm. Storm's now up to P8, but Atlas Coco, I think, has got front wing damage. That was caught on the replay. I'd love to see a replay of that, because that was a really strange crash. It looked to me as if Maximus and Tom had a collision coming through Lesmo 1 into Lesmo 2, and there's just been nowhere to go for the guys in behind. In the meantime, Conti on the back of Key, literally breathless action. I don't know how I'm going to give the commentary box over to you in a minute. Conti down the inside on Key though, outbreaks himself slightly but gets it into the corner nicely, and he's through and he's up to P4. Take it away, Paco, I need a drink.
Well, I mean, chaotic first 4 laps that we've had in Italy. I have to say that Kiki, unfortunately, he was pretty clutch for Mashiro, but he made a mistake, I think, after this first chicane. And now he's behind Conti, quite far from his teammate, I mean, almost 3 seconds behind. And we have plenty of action. The incidents between both Reynolds in lap 1 at the exit of the first chicane, they just made contact and they both went into the wall. And then in lap 3 with Tom and Maximus, unfortunately they are now at the back of the field, but there's still plenty of race, plenty of things can happen, and for sure they can still make an interesting comeback.
Yeah, Key on the back of Conti for 4th and 5th. Charlie on the back of Atlas Coppo as well. Charlie not having the greatest of luck, to be honest, out on track. And the Racing Point trying to have a bit of a half look in. He really means business, I think, Charlie. He's on the back of Atlas Coppo. I'm going to cut to Key and Conti in just the meantime. Remember, coming into tonight, Conti having that 10-second time penalty out on track. And now he's going to be overtaken surely by Key. Look at the straight line speed of that McLaren. He just saunters on by. Key is through and he's up into 4th position. Might be the easiest move out on track, but if these two keep swapping positions, Schumi and possibly even Jeffrey, I think, will have a bit of a crack at these two coming into the next couple of laps or so. Jeffrey especially in the longer term with him being on mediums.
Well, I mean, depends, because if they actually do it strategically, I mean, like giving each other the position on the straight, I don't think they're going to lose that much time. But it's true that if they fight in certain corners, that might give the chance for the drivers behind to actually catch up later on the race.
Conti, interestingly, there, just making a mistake through Lesmo 1. He is now beginning to fall back into the clutches of Schumi slightly. 3.2 seconds separating. Jeffrey, as I say, 3.5 seconds behind. He's lost a little bit of time. Let's speak about, though, some of the guys out on track further down the field who've had those collisions earlier on. Charlie just came out the pits. He's now in 11th. Maximus now in 12th on a set of softs. Mason 13th on a set of mediums. Tom in 14th on a set of hards. And what I think might have happened actually between Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2 was Tom maybe getting it caught on the outside of the curb. And as you can see there, he's just purely cut across the corner there. That is not how to take that corner, Tom. And the Welshman struggling out on track. But he might have lost it on the outside curb, I think, or Maximus has. Both of them have made a little bit of contact, and that's probably what's happened there. Tom is definitely struggling on that set of hards. Maximus on the back of Charlie.
He hit the wall.
Charlie's straight. Charlie's out the race. Yeah, that's a rage quit and a half, I think, for Charlie. It's unfortunate out on track. I totally understand, though, him out on track. Driving standards definitely slipping, if I've got to be honest here, in Italy tonight. But Storm leads the way from Hades. But look at this man, Mashiro, from the start of the grid. Totally under pressure from Storm. Storm got the move done through turn 1. Hades got through as well. And Mashiro has always been on the back foot since. Of course, coming into tonight, his previous race graphics are looking as follows. 2nd in Spain, 6th in Britain, his really only blemish, I think, out of his last 5 races. And then he's won the last 3. So Mashiro on a set of mediums. Is this the point now for him to begin to close in? Because these softs will begin to wear off for the guys ahead.
Well, softs, I think they can actually last around 10, 11 laps. I mean, till they get really, really bad. So probably right now, they'll still have some few laps to try and push a little bit more. But definitely from now on, mediums will be equally or even faster than the softs.
Yeah, medium's beginning. I think, honestly, Mashiro is beginning to close this gap in a couple of tenths per lap currently. If Storm and Hades risk it any longer, I think, Mashiro will definitely begin to close these guys in. I could imagine that this gap to be about 3 seconds in, say, 2 or 3 laps' time. And as soon as I say that, Mashiro's just picked up a 3-second time penalty for briefly cutting the chicane there. So Mashiro picking up a 3-second time penalty. Penalties might be the order of the day here tonight in Italy, of course. Conti in his chase for Key, however, 4th and 5th. And Hades beginning to close in, interestingly, on TTG Storm ahead as well. Conti, though, now pressurising as Storm actually picks up a 3-second time penalty from the lead of the race. So Storm has now got a 3-second time penalty. I don't think Hades has picked one up yet. If he can check that, that'll be fantastic. Conti is, however, on the back of Key. But these mediums may be beginning to come into play. Hades has got a penalty.
Yeah, in lap 4.
Lap 4. So both of them even then for the lead of the race. And I'll tell you what, Hades is beginning to close him down. He's got no ERS though running down the straight. Big advantage for Storm, who is not going to really fight this for position. And Storm stays in that first position for now as they come through the Retafilio chicane. Nearly said the wrong chicane there, but Hades now on the back and could possibly go for move a Curva Grande. He's going to be close enough, you know. Look at the closing speed of Hades here. but just backing off further through the throttle through Curva Grande, and he's not going to attempt that move. Always a characteristic sign for a driver waiting for the DRS there, and Hades now maybe beginning to put cautious Storm under pressure. Storm, I don't think, has probably felt pressure like it this season, if I've got to be honest.
Well, I mean, he has had some interesting battles, you know, with other drivers and being put under a certain pressure, but I have to say that probably today it will be quite a challenge for him. We'll have to see how he defends, if he tries really hard or if he's gonna be pretty cautious like we call him.
Look at this. Hades is right on the back of Storm coming through Ascari. What a terrific piece of speed that was through the corner. He's not going to go for the inside line. He's just warning Storm that he's there. But Storm, in fact, has gone a little bit wide through Parabolica. This could be him into the pits. Hades could follow him in as well. No, they're going to go on. So Storm and Hades go on for at least the next lap or so. And Conti on the back of Key as well. Hades down the inside, though. Here comes the Toro Rosso man. Hades goes through and he's up into the lead of the race. Let's flick on board with Key and Conti. Look at the closing speed of Conti, the Dutchman, against the Brit down the inside. I think he's gone a bit too deep here. He has. He's gone over the sleeping policeman. Key will just saunter up the inside. Back. Yeah, switch back to perfection there for Key. And there's a yellow flag in Sector 3, and I think that might be Atlas Copel or Axnes off. One of the two Alfa Romeos. It's Axnes who was off. Just looking at the mini-map. Yeah, so Atlas Copel in 8th position now as a result of that. Conti on the back of Key, we're getting some good battles still out on track, but Hades made that move look pretty easy for the lead of the race.
Yeah, but this is making that Mashiro can actually catch up pretty quickly, and it's also the fact that the softs, I think they're starting to loosen grip, and that's helping. Apart from that, the battle and all that, I think that's helping massively for Mashiro to pick up.
Yeah, 2.6 seconds coming through Ascari. It's going to be less than that, in fact, coming through Ascari. So Mashiro was 3.5 seconds a couple of laps ago, now 2.5 seconds. You can see the rate of closure now between Mashiro and Storm. Maze has left the session. I think that might be a disconnect there from Maze. Storm, though, into the pits. He's going to go undercut. So Storm into the pits, interestingly. I wonder if Conti is going to come in as well. No, Conti stays out behind Key. I think I would have taken the gamble there and tried to undercut the McLaren, to be honest. I think Conti could have quite easily done that, but down the straight, closing in. We're not going to be close enough down towards turn 1. Storm, by the way, is going to come out of the pits in 6th position and clear of any traffic around him. He might just come out side by side with YWR Storm, but I mean the time, Storm is well out in front of YWR Storm. So Storm, TTG Storm, out in 6th, YWR Storm now in 7th. It'll get a bit confusing, trust me.
Yeah, I mean, it gets confusing, I have to say. At least we can actually differentiate them because of the teams they are in, so pretty helpful.
Yeah, Conti's still on the back of Key, 5.5 tenths. I've got to be honest, if I was in Conti's shoes right now, if I was in his brain right now, I would be trying to go for that move down into Ascari, come hell's water or hellfire, I think. I think Conti should have gone for that move to try and get the overcut possibly on Key in terms of the strategies. Conti, I think, will be coming into the pit though this lap. 3.5 tenths behind. Undercut could work. Key will be going a little bit deeper into the race, and Hades is in from the lead of the race. This is where Conti's got to react, I think, and yeah, he's going to come into the pits. A lap too late for my liking, but he's into the pits finally, and these should go on to a set of mediums for 17 or 18 laps to the end of the race. Hades into the pit stop then. Torosso man out in 3rd. Where is TTG Storm?
The mechanics were not ready.
Mechanics not ready for Conti. They were. That's a bit of a glitch. I think Hades, by the way, coming out just behind, or just in front of TTG Storm, and it's about a second, I think, coming out the pits between these two. So Hades and Storm pretty much locked together. Coming out of the pits, and Hades has gone a little bit too deep out of the pits. Through turns 1 and 2, he goes well too deep into his braking zone, and that's given Storm a massive opportunity for him to close up. An uncharacteristic mistake from Hades. And Storm now on the back and attacking him in towards Curva Grande. Now down into the Della Roccia chicane. He's trying to go around the outside, but goodness me, he's not going to pull that one off. Storm, though, trying to capitalise, I think, on those tyres. He is assuring that he's got the warmness in those tyres to try and attack Hades. This is a side of Storm I don't think we've seen before this season. Storm now beginning to put the hammer down on Hades, and it's just a matter of time, I'm afraid, for him to get the move done. Switches to the inside line. Very smart move that by Storm, and this should be for the net lead of the race, and it is. The Racing Point man is through on the Torosso, and he's up into 4th position. Hades just cuts across the grass slightly and goes wide through a Scari. Conti in the meantime has gone through an Atlas Copel just in behind. He's through and he's up into 7th position, but there's quite a lot going on once again, and these pit stops are just making this race that bit more interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Now the medium runners going for the undercut and taking advantage of those fresh mediums against those 11 laps mediums. But to be honest, I don't understand what Storm is doing, because look at now, the Toro Rosso going again for the move round the outside. Will he make it?
Good positioning
no, he doesn't.
there, though.
But I think it's a little bit silly what Storm is doing, because if he had stayed behind, he could have saved some more DRS, and they could have both try and catch the McLarens. Because look at that. Yeah,
oh.
Now the Toro Rosso trying to get the position back again and again and again, and this is only making them lose worthy time.
Do you think Storm's actually playing the mental game, actually, and trying to force Hades into a bit of a mistake, I wonder? I think that's what he might be trying to lure him into, to be honest.
But why would he do that if he's now racing also? I mean, he's also racing against the McLarens. I mean, I think by doing that, he's also losing time with the McLaren, so it wouldn't make that much sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It looks like he's got the pace, though, and he's beginning to just try and ebb out that gap slightly to Hades, but running up towards Parabolica for the 13th time out on track. Mashiro leads, Key in 2nd, Jeffrey in 3rd. I tell you what, Mashiro is going to be right involved with this battle when he comes out of the pit. Conti arguably going on for his best result of the season so far as well. He's yet to pick up, I think, any points so far this season, and remember that 10-second time penalty that he has, as Hades trying to get the move done on Storm. Not close enough, runs over the curb slightly, and Key picks up a 3-second time penalty through the Della Roger chicane. That was, just looking at the mini-map there. But Conti beginning to try and close in on Hades, but Hades in turn trying to close in on Storm. Not going to close in though with any ERS deployment out on track. Really, this race has now become a bit of a 2-horse race, to be honest, out on track. It's between Storm and Hades. It's for 4th and 5th position. But I've got to be honest, let's have a check to the gap for the leader. 23 seconds, let's put it at, between Mashiro and Storm. Is that enough of a gap for Mashiro to undercut Storm and Hades later on in the race? Could be tight.
The time you lose around the pitch, it's actually about that gap. I mean, 23 seconds. So it will be pretty close. And I have to say that right now, we have to say, I mean, the race looks a little bit boring. I mean, we only have one battle. But at the end of the race, this could actually get interesting, because, alright, Mashiro would actually probably will be in front or will be behind, but he will open a gap with those fresh songs.
Tell you what, then, Hades, from an absolute mile back, is coming down the inside. He's got the move done. How has he done that? From an absolute mile back, Hades has got the move done. Storm, I'm not sure if he went in a little bit too deep, but Hades has pulled off one of the best braking moves I think I've seen down into turn 1 around here. Hades soon, he's up to 4th. What a move. That was bravery and commitment if I've ever seen it.
I'll tell you how he did that, Mr. Cautious. I mean, I think Storm just braked way too much when they went at the exit of the TK. I mean, not at the exit, you know, before the second corner. He was braking. I think he just let Hades at the position, because I think he knows that right now they cannot fight that much, and that they have a common rival, that it's Mashiro, and if they keep fighting, they will just keep losing time.
They are going to keep losing time, because I'll tell you what, Hades, I think, is not going to be let through here by Jeffrey. who is on a very different strategy compared to these guys, and is one of the guys that hasn't still yet to come into the pit. So Jeffrey is one of those three, Mashiro and Key being the other two, who haven't came into the pits just yet. And this is allowing Storm to get back. Maybe a double toe down the straight, but 5/10 is well too far back to try and get the move. And I don't think Hades, in fact, is going to be close enough for the move on Jeffrey. Yeah, nowhere near. It's got to be within 3/10 out of Parabolica to try and get any sort of move done. But because they were in a DRS train, Hades and Storm will now struggle to get on Jeffrey. This is going to advance. This is going to give the advantage, I think, to Storm above anyone else.
Yeah, definitely, and I think could actually. I mean, how deep is the friendship between Jeffrey and Conti? Because
to be honest, I would say pretty deep, because they're both Dutchmen, they're both teammates coming into tonight. Jeffrey could be allowing Conti to have a nick of the win here. You never know. Hades, though, is going to surely get this move done. Storm might follow suit. Hades switches to the inside, and Jeffrey saw him coming. Hades is down the inside into Ascari. Jeffrey, though, around the outside. Oh, what a defensive move that is by Jeffrey.
Amazing.
What a move. On
and
14
to the pits.
Mashiro's in, Keel go for another lap then. Storm is on the back of Hades. This race has taken another turn. Literally writing a new chapter here in TTL F1. League 2, and Storm's up the inside into Parabolica on Hades. Gets the move done, surely. But Hades and Storm are side by side coming out, and Jeffrey is not going to back down from this without a fight. He's got a bit of a buffer. Storm now getting the toe. Both of them have got DRS, I think. There's a McLaren coming out of the pits. That's Mashiro, and he's going to undercut them both, surely. Mashiro out of the pits on the centre side, and Hades has gone too deep. And that was the scenario that Hades and Storm didn't want, because Jeffrey was going slow ahead. He didn't come into the pits, and Mashiro came out the pits in front of them. Box effect happening there. Mashiro now in the lead of this race.
And look who's behind Storm right now. I mean, under that second gap.
Conti. And he's just come into this out of absolutely nothing. Hades, 3-second time penalty. So now Storm is at a bigger advantage now. 3 seconds, I think, inferior to Hades out on track.
And we have to keep in mind that probably Kiki will be around, well, actually will be 6 seconds behind this group. So I think we're going to have an interesting ending, I mean, to this race.
If it's anything like TTL F1 League 1, then bring it on, because I think this is honestly going to rewrite record books right here in TTL F1 League 2 tonight. If you're just tuning in, where have you been? First of all, first and foremost, where have you been the last 16 or 17 laps? Key leads, he's just came into the pits. Mashiro now coming around the final corner. Yeah, so Key into the pits, he's on a set of soft compounded tyres. So, interestingly, and Jeffrey, sorry, he's into the pits as well, but Storm's going through on Hades. Storm is going through on Hades. If I can pick them up, they're both side by side. They've both got DRS running down the straight. It's a drag race down towards the Rettifilio chicane, and Storm has got the move done down the inside and has got the car ahead and just slams that door shut. Good move that by Storm, good intuition, and Storm's through. He's up into second. Got Conti and Hades. Look at this, Hades on the inside line. They nearly make contact through cover corner. This on board with Conti. Hades down the inside line on Storm. Gets the move done. Hades is through, but Storm trying to get the run off. No, Hades has got the move done. So Hades, maybe winning the risk of a third penalty, takes the move and he's up to second. But Mashiro's absolutely dominating now out in front. Surely that gap's going to be about 15 seconds by the end of this race.
Probably it will, and I have to say that this is... Look at that, Kiki went out of the pits 6 seconds behind this group, and now he's 4.3. I mean, this battle is helping massively to Conti and Kiki to actually keep up with the group, you know, and I think at the end of the race we'll have interesting battle between these four. I mean, till the end of the race we're gonna keep watching these two fighting, and probably Conti and Kiki will get involved.
Mashiro, new fastest lap in the race, 21.8, 6.1 seconds now ahead of Hades. Storm is on the back though of Hades, running down the straight. Look at the speed of the Racing Point man, he just saunters on by. But Hades is very late on the brakes down towards turn 1. Can he get the move done? He's got the Never going to work
wheels.
there, I'm afraid. Never in a million years was that going to work. Storm always had the car in front. Storm Thuney still into second position. But let me ask you a question, Paco, because obviously you've been a driver around here and faced some of these guys out on track. Whose shoes would you be in right now out of second to fifth?
Oof. I would say Kiki, because he's in the best position. I mean, he's with the soft, and apart from that, I think he's a pretty solid driver. He barely makes mistakes. He doesn't get too much penalties, and in the end, he is a reliable driver. So, if I could choose one, I would be Kiki.
Key, to be honest, I thought you were going to say that, to be honest. Yeah. Key, I think, is the driver. Too predictable,
am I?
Yeah, too predictable. To be honest, I would be the same. I would be in Key's shoes at this stage as well in the race. I mean, on to lap 19, Mashiwa has got this race pretty much underneath his collar right now.
Ooh.
But Conti trying to pick up the toe on Hades. This is going to be three wide down towards turn one. Conti's picked the outside line. It might be the wrong thing because he's going to be boxed in towards turn one. He's somehow come out on Hades. He's down the inside in towards turn one. Can he get them both? He can't. Hades tries to go up the inside, but they respect each other at the end of the day. And Axnes is out through Ascari. Axnes out through Ascari, that was, and that's on the exit of Ascari. So I think he's caught the curb on the inside, tried to cover the car, and he's gone straight into the wall on the right-hand side. Just try and pick up on that with Tom. Hopefully the car doesn't disappear, just to be sure. And it should be, yeah, there is the car on the right-hand side, just in the distance. And yeah, he's gone straight into the wall. So that right-hand side, pretty much how I describe it there, I think, for him. Key's only 9/10 off Hades. Where's he caught this pace from?
I'm going down. Look at that, I mean.
A four-way battle for second? Amazing. I don't think I've ever seen a four-way battle for second here in Italy before. This is going to be insane. Surely, Storm 3-second time penalty. So now Hades and Storm both even.
Yeah, and look at that, continue getting a massive slipstream from Storm. And now he will have DRS in the main straight, and probably might we see a 3 wide or maybe double two wide.
He's gonna have Hades already. The speed of the soft compounded tyres. Key is through on Hades, but now Conti is going through on Storm. Surely we could have 2x2 Noah's Ark in towards turn one at the Rettifilio chicane. But Conti's run the outside on, he turns into him. Conti into Storm. And he just misjudged his brake. He didn't misjudge his braking point. He let Storm through, which is good sportsmanship shown there. He recovers for fifth. Conti just trying to go for a move that really wasn't there. It just almost cut him off. That was a poor camera angle, granted, but Storm just got cut off, I think, around the outside there.
And Hades got damage from that. He just went into the back of Kiki when the collision happened. He couldn't do anything about it, and unfortunately, yeah, we had this incident between these two.
Hades wrong place at the wrong time then, I think, is what you're saying there. Yeah. Left side end plate damage, as we can see on the car. The Toros man, to be honest, I would stay out there. 5.3 seconds Storm. Yeah. I don't think that gap will come down too much. I think Hades could be on for P3, you know, out of all of this. He's relatively unscathed compared to what happened between Storm and Conti. Jeffrey, by the way, is on the back of Shumi, running down towards Ascari, 0.5 of a second, and Jeffrey in a shout of a top 6 position out on track tonight. And the Red Bull man has really attributed himself well here, driven well to this point. Hopefully that is not the start of my commentators' curses tonight, because I haven't had one apart from qualifying. Jeffrey on the back of Shumi though. This is for 6th and 7th position. Ferrari against Red Bull. Don't think the Tifosi will take too lightly to a Red Bull going past them, but we'll see the move here. Jeffrey right on the back of Shumi. Jeffrey tyres will begin to wear. He's very low on ERS actually, so I don't think this move is actually going to get pulled off. So Jeffrey on the back of Shumi. He's now closed them in. He's not going to go around the outside. He is. He's very late on the brakes. Comes in on Shumi, and it's the same collision between Conti and Storm. Oh, and Storm! Conti made contact!
Oh, and he made contact with the wall. That's strong wind damage for the racing driver.
Both end plates for Storm. That's such a shame. I came on board quite late, to be honest. It looked like Storm got caught on the grass. I'm not sure if Conti maybe moved his line slightly to put Storm on the outside of the curb. I'll have to go to replay cam that, because again, I'm very unsure about that. Really unsure. There's going to be a lot of stewards busy tonight, let's put it that way.
Yeah, unfortunately, and at least the Storm could actually, if he pits, I mean, this is actually quite an interesting situation. He has 10 seconds over Jeffrey, but we don't even know if he's gonna lose those 10 seconds. So might he go into the pits to maybe try to go new softs and try to go...
He is.
Yeah.
Fastest lap. He's going to go fastest lap, isn't he?
Yeah.
Best
and
for
he
me.
He will probably go ahead of Atlas Copos.
Yeah, he will probably come out in 7th position, as you say. Atlas is just coming through. Paravolk actually could be quite close, because remember, this front wing change would be 5 seconds. He's going to be up behind Atlas Copo by a couple of seconds at least. So Storm out of the pit lane is going to be out behind Atlas Copo by at least a few seconds. It's going to be, what, 5, 6 seconds maybe coming out of the pits. It might be even more than that.
7, I would say.
Yeah, about 6.5 seconds, so pretty much right in between what we both predicted there, to be honest. 6.5 seconds, well 6.9 actually, so you're closer. I think. Yeah, I think you've got that one nailed on, I think. Tom is getting the move done on Passels. This is what I like to call for the wooden spoon, but it's not. It's the 12th position, and Tom has got the move done. And arguably, I think this has been Tom's best race. He was right up there in the early stages. There's a little bit of contact. It looks like he's missing a bit of a winglet on his left side end plate, but really driving a good race. And Tom's in 12th and outscoring Passels at this stage. Going to fill him with quite a bit of confidence. This is his best performance I've seen so far of him this season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember watching like the Challenge Cup, you know, for this tier, and he in Abu Dhabi he was way off, you know, having a disastrous race, and the improvement he has made during the season is amazing. Today he was close to the fight for the points, but unfortunately that incident with Maximus cost him the top 10 probably.
Yeah, it is a shame, but I mean, he's got a second. He's beginning to extend that gap out. Mates is also continuing, by the way. He did rejoin the session from his disconnect earlier. He's now in 11th position. Let's focus, though, on board with Mashiro. 9.8 seconds the gap. A McLaren 1-2 currently. His last 5 races, 2nd in Spain, 6th in Britain, and 3 wins. Pole position. Fastest lap could go his way as well. Pole position and race win certainly on the cards. Mashiro, could he get a grand slam and go for fastest lap as well, or will he not be quick enough? I don't think he'll be that quick enough, to be honest.
We'll have to wait and see, but watching how confident Mashiro looks today, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes into the pits. And I have to add that he has 2 penalties plus 2 warnings, so he's on the last warning, but his teammate has only a penalty and 1 warning, so that could actually be interesting to see how they both manage the penalties in the end. But in the top 3, I think that the one who leads with most penalties is actually Harris with 9 seconds.
9 seconds, so that'll be 3 3-second penalties in terms of that. Storm, just watching on board with his lap, by the way. He's now coming across the line. He's going to go quicker than Mashiro, but what time is it going to be? To 21.4, so 4 tenths quicker than Mashiro on the end of the day. You only have to find 2 tenths through the final sector anyways. So Storm now in P8. Could chase down Atlas Copo late on in this race, but P8 may be the best he might be hoping for, I think, out on track. Let's actually have a bit of a penalties rundown. There's nothing going on out on track, so let's have a penalties rundown as we go on to lap 25.
Alright, I already said the top 3, so we are going with Conti now.
Oh, remind us actually, no, remind us of the top 3 again. Let's start from the top.
Alright, we go again then. Mashiro has 2 penalties plus 2 warnings, so he's on his last warning. Then we have his teammate that only has a penalty. Yes, he only has 3 seconds, but he has a warning. Then we have Fares in 3rd with 9 seconds of penalties. 9 seconds of penalty. Then we have Conti in 4th, who would actually be virtually in 3rd as he has only 3 second time penalty, but he has 2 warnings, so he'll have to watch out. Then we have his teammate in 5th with no warnings and no penalties, of course, so amazing stuff from him. Then we have Shumi with a 3-second time penalty at the start, probably for cutting the chicane, and then we have another penalty after 2 warnings, so it's still a few penalties from him. Then we have Atlas with only 1 warning in the whole race, surprising stuff from him. And then we have Storm with 2 penalties, so that's 6 seconds for him. Maximus in 9th with no penalties but 2 warnings. And close in the top 10, Storm with actually 2 penalties and 1 warning. So interesting stuff. Outside the top 10, they are pretty far from P10, so I wouldn't actually get a look into those penalties.
Let's quickly run through them. I'll run through them on my screen. Maze has got 2 warnings, but remember he disconnected, so that wouldn't be counted with his penalties. Tom has picked up 2 penalties, and Passels has picked up absolutely diddly squat. He's picked up 2 warnings out on track, so good stuff from Passels there as well. Won the penultimate lap of the race, and now the gap is at 10 seconds for Mashiro. It has been a totally dominant affair from the Japanese man. It's surely, fingers crossed, toes crossed, touching wood, is going to be 4 wins in a row for Mashiro, and he's just been so dominant out on track and really took the race by the scruff of the neck early on.
Yeah, definitely, and I have to say he's been pretty dominant, you know, since he made his mistakes at the start of the season. He has actually rebuilt himself, you know, and he has been able to fix his mistakes, you know, to become a better driver and learn from his errors. And now he's gained some more confidence, and he has shown it in the last few races as he crosses the finish line to go ahead with the final lap.
Yeah, he's coming through Curva Grande then for the final time. Could pick up a little bit of cheeky DRS as well from Passels ahead. That is Passels, I think, ahead of him out on track. It's not. It's Maze. It's the other Renault out on track. But Mashiro currently leading the way, and the ghosting now coming into effect for Maze. But Mashiro doing a great job out on track. 9.9 seconds of gap as he comes through Les Mode 1 for the final time. Running low on fuel. Storm interestingly getting close to Atlas Copo, 1.5 seconds. They're just coming out of Parabolica. Could be quite close towards the end. We'll focus on that battle in due course. But Mashiro running down on essentially his lap of honour as Conti picks up a 3-second time penalty. Now that is 6 seconds, I think. And he's out of the 3-second range as well. So I think Hades might be okay for P3. We'll have to confirm that, and it's just dropped under, actually, to 2.9 seconds. So that is how thin margins we are talking about. Mashiro round Parabolica for the final time. It's been a dominant win from the Japanese man, and he's going to take his 4th race win in a row. Pole and the win, not the fastest lap, but Mashiro wins here in Italy. A fantastic win from him out on track. It's going to be a McLaren 1-2 as well, with Key in second. I'm not sure if I got half that prediction right, to be honest, but still, I'll take that. Hades going to be coming across the line in 3rd position as well. Storm, don't think he's going to be close enough to the back of Atlas Copo. Seeing him running down on the mini-map, down into Ascari. It's 1.2 seconds. Conti just jumps Hades. Oh, and Shumi's out of the race through Ascari.
After Ascari.
Shumi out of the race, and that promotes Atlas Copo and Storm up to 6th and 7th. Apologies, I missed that. Didn't look like he got a puncture. I think he's just run purely wide there. On a set of hard compounded tyres, he's run wide and he's surely lost it on the curb. I can only think that.
I mean, probably they were in those 18 lap hards, probably were noticeable, you know, and probably he was struggling for grip, and he has lost it. That's the only explanation I can find.
Such a shame, but Maze is going to be counting his lucky chickens now to get points. Maximus. Atlas Copo, by the way, just confirmed. Jeffrey across the line in 5th. Atlas Copo 6th. Storm in 7th. Maximus in 8th. YWR Storm first point of the season as well in 9th position. Maze coming across the line for 10th. And, well, that just sums up really what has been a right hectic old thing here in Monza. Probably not in terms of driving standards the best race to look at, but certainly when we got the battles, they were quite good.
Yeah, I mean, probably this is the typical race that teachers would actually showed in the past to Maldonado, you know. But and this can actually explain how he got to the point he got, you know, of driving like that. But yeah, as you said, it was not the perfect race in terms of driving standards. We've actually had some bad races in terms of driving standards, and for sure this needs to improve, because some incidents were a bit silly, you know, like for example the Conti and the Storm one. It was a bit silly.
Oh, I get XP! Fantastic. And you've just seen me go up to level 40 on bronze. Fantastic. Level 39, in fact, on bronze, not level 40. Mashiro takes the win out on track from Key in second. Conti in third position as well. His first points of the season and his first podium of the season, which is all wrapped up in a Christmas present for him. Hada is in fourth, Jeffrey in fifth, Atlas Copel from 14th up to 6th, good drive from him. Storm in 7th, Maximus in 8th, YWR Storm first points of the season in 9th, Maze in 10th, Shumi unfortunate with that DNF, he would have got 6th for Shua in the Ferrari. Tom finishing, Passel's finishing as well, 12th and 13th. Axnes, Charlie, Vax Viking and Whiteville Billy all either DNFing or desyncing at the race. It has counted, by the way, Billy's time as 40 minutes 57 seconds, 0.778 and 26 laps down. Great game, Codemasters, great game.
Clap.
Oh, great game, exactly. Hopefully F1 2020 will be better in terms of how many glitches that we don't get in terms of...
You're delusional.
I think I've cursed that now, haven't I? There's going to be more. There's definitely going to be more glitches there. But Italy never fails to produce a good race. Mashiro dominating out on track. He really took the race by the scruff of the neck early on, as I say, and extends his championship lead further by 7 points over his nearest rival, which is his own teammate. McLaren won too. I have a feeling they might have wrapped up the constructors' standings with Toro Rosso's Hada.
I mean, I know I need to change the mentality, you know, because I've been involved in some incidents, and I know that I have to keep myself calm after the race, because sometimes I say some stupid things, but I have to say that I'm pretty optimistic about the race. This is like the first time I've joined an F2 league, and it's pretty interesting because in all the races I've seen, there's been plenty of action, and you actually get to enjoy a lot if you, of course, race against the correct drivers, you know, and hopefully there will be a good race, like always.
We should have a fantastic race, I think, in TTL F2, and I'm just going to get up the calendar just to confirm where we are next week. If I'm not mistaken, we are going to be racing at Hungary, the Hungaroring Magna Nedadec, for the Hungarian Grand Prix. So don't miss that at all. Make sure you are liked, subscribed, and commented on this video. And also tick this notification bell if you're new to TTTV, and tick this notification bell and like, comment and subscribe if you're on my channel as well, where this video has been getting broadcast from on YouTube, thank God. But until next time, for Tuesday, TTL F2, myself and Aidan Carter are going to be taking you through that one. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. I've been James Head. He's been Paco Suarez. Please take care of yourselves. Stay at home. Protect the NHS. Protect your health service as well. And save lives. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.